Hey guys, this is Vorian from the Paladin Journal, and welcome back to another installment of Vorian's Hobby Journal. Now, it's been a while since we had our last one, and which was the inaugural episode basically, and we talked about Terminators and how the new Terminators that GW released in 2013, they don't quite measure up to the, just the ease of building of the old Terminators, which we've had since like, I don't know, 2005, 2006, something like that, around 4th edition 40k, and that's like almost 20 years if not more. And that was a bit of a rant episode. This time I wanted to bring something that was much more positive and much more hobby forward, so to speak. Now recently, for the month of March, I was working on a bunch of different models. There were some salamanders, there was some Deathwatch, more Deathwatch than salamanders, and I managed to pump out one full squad of Vanguard Veterans. Now these are in the firstborn scale, and they're made from using a mix of the Vanguard Veteran box and the Deathwatch Veterans kit, and it was a really fun experience trying to get everything together and painting them up. And while I do have a little bit of a backlog for the Deathwatch, like three characters on with a jump pack and two more Vanguard Veterans that I had no idea that I had before I started working on this big lot, so that's all pending still. But I do have 10 guys who are completed, who are done as much as I would like them to be for the most part, and I just want to show them off. And like I said, let's do some hobby positive videos, because I feel that is very important for me as a person in the hobby. It's important for me as a YouTuber, because I feel sometimes I put out too much content that's a little bit negative or maybe too negative, and I want to change that. I want to have some sort of a balance where I talk about the good things as much as I talk about what I find to be negative and not working with the hobby. So anyways, after the jump, that's what we're gonna see, and just let me know what you guys think. Cheers, bye. Alright guys, so welcome back to the jump, and I present to you Deathwatch Vanguard Veteran Squad Ganorim. This is Kill Team Delta, Company Tercio for the Watch Fortress Sargollian 3. That is the Watch Fortress army that I've been building up for like 7 years now, ever since I got back into the hobby in 2018. And this is part of that entire larger force. You can find a video with pretty much my entire Deathwatch army in one place. It's a video from last year. I'll put a link down below in the description box. But anyways, these guys are the latest recruits who have been all painted up, and they're ready to deploy wherever the Watch Commander sends them to be. Now, like I said, this is Squad Ganorim, or Kill Team Delta, led by Watch Sergeant Alcano Ganorim, who is this guy right here. He is from the Screaming Griffins chapter, which is a play on the Howling Griffins chapter, and that is because while the Howling Griffins have a quartered scheme for their chapter symbol and their armor, I actually forgot that it was quartered, and I just did it, like a half and half thing. So I just wanted to be like, okay, so I can't exactly call them Howling Griffins, so we'll just call them, Screaming Griffins. Just use the play on the words. Now, the important thing about this guy, and you can see it compared to all the other 9 guys, is that he has some very, very strong, like bluish green highlights. And that was certainly a choice. I wanted to go with something that was very, apparent, immediate contrast. It stood out. But after, letting it percolate in my mind overnight and, talking to some friends and some people on Discord and stuff, I realized that it was a wrong choice. And it's just too in your face, so to speak. So for the rest of the guys, I toned it down. I actually did some comparisons between this and Dark Reaper and another gray color that I'm forgetting the name of. Did some comparisons, but I eventually settled on doing Dark Reaper for everybody. And that I believe has worked out much better. It's more subtle. But anyways, this is Watch Sergeant Alcano Ganorim of the Screaming Griffins. As I said, I try to do, like afterburner effects on these guys, As you'll see, they are all the same basically. And this was certainly, something I really struggled with. I actually went over this like twice, I think, maybe three times, trying to get it right. Trying blues, trying this and that, and I was like, it's really not working. But I still wanted to look a little bit good, so this is what I've ended up with. So the first stage was just doing it all, base coating it all white, and then putting Fire Dragon Bright on top, and in the just marking out where the actual engine exhaust would be, or not the exhaust itself, but where the engine glow would be. That was all done with Imperial Fist contrast yellow. So that is how I did all of these guys. Like I said, some really strong blue highlights on his armor. I skipped doing highlights on the jump packs because one, I'm lazy, and two, I felt it would be more appropriate for them to have, or for him and the other guys, it'd be more appropriate to have the highlights on the armor itself rather than on the jump packs. I don't know. I don't have a good rationale for that. It's just something that I thought I would do, And these guys are all themed to be veterans against Tyranids. So as you will see from a lot of these guys, they have Tyranid heads, basically. Some Gene Stealer heads, pretty much, I believe for the most part. It's all Gene Stealer heads. They have them on their bases, like this guy with a Deathwatch hammer, and he can just count as a guy without hammer or power maul or whatever. And you can see that he has another. Hold on. There we go. The Tyranid should be dead, but I thought, might as well do things in different colors so it doesn't look stupid. Basically, and they all have like some kind of like dirty city fight terrain. That's what they're going through. So that's why the bases are all astrogranite, washed with Agrax Earthshade, and done with a couple highlights. First it was the first one was, I believe, I'm struggling to remember the name. Reichland Flesh? No. Rackhearth Flesh, maybe? I think. And then it was Ulthuan Grey. Because I felt that would give me, the best result for that. So here's a black shield I did. Try to go for the glowy look on the weapons, as you can see there. So this one, it says Honor. The other one says Exterminatus. The one that says Honor, the one you can see in the forefront here, that I believe is from the Deathwatch Veterans kit itself. While the second blade, this one I believe is from Watch Captain Artemis. And that's a character that I've definitely used in a few different places. You can see some more details on there. And this guy was done with Dark Reaper, I believe. You can see the grayish highlights. They're pretty strong on this guy. And, that's just how it is. Apologies for the camera setup. I don't have a good one, unfortunately. So I'm just trying to, winging it by hand a little bit. Continuing on. So there's a bit of a story with this squad, right? That's what I do, because when I finish painting everything up and I'm posting on social media, I give all my squads, all my characters, I give them a name. For the most part, I haven't done one with my Tyranids, obviously, but for my Marine guys, at least, I try to give them names for the squad, for the character, and so on and so forth. It helps me better understand what the army is going to be, especially with my 30k Blood Angels, and certainly, for the Deathwatch guys, because there's so much character in all of them, So anyways, yeah, there's certainly a story that I have kind of going with them, because like I said, first of all, they're anti-Tyranid, they're not anti-Tyranid, they're Tyranid experts, basically. That's why they have Tyranid heads on their bases, and that leans into the the specialist nature of the Deathwatch. Sorry, they are alien hunters, and while as a whole, the Deathwatch, the chapters and the Watch Fortresses, they have their own expertise against various alien incursions. These guys specifically, they're anti-Tyranids. That's why you can see such a wide variety of weapons, because they're equipped as a whole to take out whether it's, being, jump troops. They can't carry heavy weapons, so that's why they have like, plasma pistols. They have power axes. They have storm shields. They have these special, Deathwatch issue power swords. They have special big hammers, lightning claws, and everything. And that just leans into the belief that these guys like to get up close and personal, even more so than usual. So we have our Watch Sergeant Alcano Ganorim of the Screaming Griffins, and behind him, I'll just pop him out for a second. Bring this guy in. This is Brother Scipio Lucenus of the Astral Panthers. As you can see, he likes to get really up close and personal. He's all about the lightning claws. He has a fury with him, and the other guys next to him, they share his beliefs. Now, overall, there is a certain, other element of difference between these guys. So the back row of guys and the front row, if you care to notice, they are a bit different from each other. We'll just go in for a look. Okay, first let's see the front guys, and then let's go on to the back 5 guys. As you can see, they're all built a little differently. And part of the reason why they're built a little differently like that is because the front 5 guys, they're built with Vanguard Veteran legs, Deathwatch torsos, and 3D printed jump packs. I've not been able to get the special Vanguard Veteran jump packs for a while from this one bit store that I use, but I did manage to get some decent files for the jump packs that are similar to the GW ones, and that was really nice. They're not perfect replicas. Well, I mean, nothing can be really, but they come close enough. They have detail, even if it's less sculpted on them. But that was really fun. And the back guys, they are all OG Deathwatch veteran guys. As you can see from some of the, helmets that they have, like on this guy and this guy, and jump packs, they are all actual Vanguard veteran ones. This guy actually has just a regular Assault Squad jump pack, actually. I think because, there's no fancy thing there. I might have used it for one of my characters or something like that. But I think I made great use of the Deathwatch Veterans kit in general with all of them. And, I have so many bits left over. And so part of the reason I built this full squad earlier this year with these front 5 guys was that I wanted to use those bits and I wanted to complete the squad, because that is something I've been wanting to do for a while, ever since I started my, firstborn battle company project from 40k Blood Angels. And, that was such absolute pain to get together, because I had most of the stuff I needed, but I still had to, just get everything together, and I had to do a lot of restructuring with the elements I had built up in 2018-19. So I was like, okay, these guys, I want to do something different. And then I found a bit site that was really great, Bitsbox. Thank you so much, guys, for everything that I've been getting from you guys for like the last, 4 months now. It's been incredible. Can't recommend them enough. And so that's pretty much basically it. I'll give you a look at some of their shoulder pads. So this guy's a black shield, as you can see. He has a black shield, so he has a special black shield shoulder pad that says, don't really know what his chapter is. We have this guy. We have Sergeant Ganorim. We have this guy who was some kind of like, Brazen Claws descendant, perhaps. We have these guys. So some of these icons, they're actually 3D printed icons that I got back in 2018 from Pop Goes the Monkey Shapeways. They are really good. I believe they still sell them on there, but the prices have gone up so much in the last few years that it's just really not as economical as it was at one point. So I think I can pretty much say that most of these guys have the special 3D printed shoulder pad icons. So definitely this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, also this one, and this one, and maybe this exorcist guy. I'm actually not sure. But yeah, it was really great pack. There was like, I don't know, 15, 20 different icons and two of each on the sheet. It was really good. So that's part of what, I find attractive about the Deathwatch is you can do all that fancy stuff. There's so much room for customization because there are different chapter aesthetics you can go with. I certainly have characters or just models I've built that have some specific chapter iconography bits on them, like maybe it's a weapon or it's some kind of a decoration or whatever. As we move, I cover some more of my Deathwatch army. I'm sure I'll bring that up. But it's quite fun to customize these guys because there's so much room for it, even more than on regular Space Marines. When you're building an army, because then everything is gonna have one great unifying aesthetic. Whereas with Deathwatch, you can just go nuts. Like if you notice, even when I'm using actual recognized chapter iconographies, like we have this Exorcist guy. I don't know, maybe this guy's an executioner or something, or maybe Death Specters. I'm not sure. Like Astral Claws or Tiger Claws, Carcharodons. So this guy and the Exorcist guy, they are the ones. They are the only ones I believe actually who have like the correct colors on them, whereas everybody else, it's all custom colors. And when I was building these 5 guys, I was like, okay, or these 3 guys. I was like, okay, I don't want to use regular shoulder pads. I want to make them into something special because they are Vanguard veterans in the Deathwatch. So they're like, extra special veterans. So you'll see that right here, and then right here, their shoulder pads, they have like scroll work and stuff on them or extra sculpted detail on it. So these are, I don't know, maybe from a Vanguard Veterans kit, plastic kit, or maybe from the Tactical Squad kit, whatever. I have so many of these, just lying around, special ones. So I used my some of the icon bits I had left over, like here, and here, slap them on those shoulder pads, and it's perfect. Highlights that they are special guys, and that's all that we want to do, right? So let's bring all these guys together back here. The painting process that I usually follow for Deathwatch is I just leave the armor as black. I go over it once with a baton black, and just to like, if I need to clean up at some point, I can do that pretty easily with that, and because otherwise they're just prime black. So that helps correct mistakes that I make as I paint over these guys, because like all the sculpted details I have on the jump packs, I am very messy with that, and later I just go over back with the Abaddon Black or maybe even Black Templar contrast, which is amazing for this purpose. But anyway, so these guys actually took me a while because one, I was experimenting with the highlights, which I rarely do. It's something I'm trying to get better at, and I still have like miles to go before I get any good at it. But some friends have complimented me on the highlights, and I am just like, I'll take it, man. It's like, that's good to hear when you get positive feedback like that, and it's helping me get better, especially with because black is such a tough color to make look good. The normal schemes are like 3-4 different types of highlights, specific colors and everything. I don't have all the exact colors. It's hard for me to get all the colors, and pretty much everything I have is from like 3 years, 4 years back, which is like not ideal really, because back then I didn't care as much. But here I try to make an effort, with the lightning claws, getting them to be really bright and stuff. If you can see on the sword that the sergeant is using, trying to do kind of like highlights on this Necronish sword that he has. On the Black Shield guy, doing the letters in a different color. That was a trip. Just the armor in general and everything. It's not easy for me. I struggle with a lot of these things, and it's just how it is. But anyways, guys, that's where I'm gonna leave all of you, and just give you a little bit of a better look as I leave. Watch Sergeant Ganorim, Brother Scipiolucenus, and Kill Team Delta of Company Tercio, which I realize now that I haven't really explained what all of that is. So Kill Team Delta basically means it's the fourth squad in the company. The company's Company Tercio, that means it's the third company in the Watch Fortress. And all the other stuff is taken up with all the other elements of army. So I don't remember exactly what rationale I had for splitting these guys up in this way in Company Tercio as Kill Team Squad Delta, but that's what I have written down in my Excel sheet. One day I'll share that as well. But anyways, that's these guys, and I'll just give you a sneak peek look at my work in progress stuff. It's a little bit ugly right now, but I just want to show some cool stuff from there, as a bit of a teaser for the next installment of this, which is going to be I'll cover all those 5 guys. So that one's going to happen after the jump. Alright guys, welcome back to the after the jump. And so you have these 2 guys are also Vanguard veterans, but they're different because they have, I'm using I don't suppose you could call it base stoppers, but terrain pieces from the discontinued assault squad kit, which, if you can see right there, they all came with these special platforms and stuff. So that's what I'm using on these 2 guys. And on this guy that I initially was using as a Deathwatch Smash Captain, in 8th edition. And, so that's that. And this guy, he is converted from Watch Captain Artemis. He originally had a power axe, but I was like, when I was sitting down to paint these guys, I was like, the angle looks really odd and stuff. Really not feeling it. Want this guy to be more of a gunslinger kind of deal, so that's what he is. And the cape is looking a little bit ugly right now, but this guy, he's just a souped up guy, Vanguard veteran guy. And this one is also, and it's probably going to be one of the models in this lot that I work a lot on, is a converted guy. So he's on a bigger base, gave him a 40mm base, which is now pretty common, pretty much the standard for all Primaris characters actually. Gave him a bigger base because I want to do a dead Xenos on the base with him. So there's an Eldar, a Guardian I believe, on the base there. Gonna have lots of fun with this, and can't wait to show you guys, these 5 when they're all done, which should be in 3 days, 4 days maybe, and then I'll do another follow-up video for that. So anyways guys, that's all pretty much me just signing off now. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the video, check out my socials, and there should be another installment of this coming very soon, hopefully by sometime Monday, Tuesday, let's see what happens. Cheers guys, see you all, have a good day, see y'all, bye.